Welcome back to the program. The Oilers won 4-3 in overtime to draw first blood in the Stanley Cup Final against the Panthers. They won all 4 games in OT this postseason. Leon Draisaitl has scored in 3 of those games. Interestingly, 3 of the 5 players on this board are playing in this series. Draisaitl, Matthew Tkachuk, and Corey Perry. That leads us to another edition of Masters Lock, featuring TSN hockey insider Pierre LeBrun as our special guest. Mark, Pierre, great to see you both. What did this win and the way it happened mean for the Edmonton Oilers, Mark?
It meant so much, Jay. At Media Day, every Oiler was saying the same thing. The guys back from last year, that this felt different. This is a different group. They were better for having that experience, but it's not enough to just say it. You have to show it. And the way this played out today with how they fell behind in this game, it seemed to be going against them, against a Florida Panthers team so good with the lead, right? Like 31-0 when leading after 2 in the Paul Maurice era. You know, they finally hand that team a loss. You know, and they come back and they get it done. And I thought it was striking that Stuart Skinner, the goalie, said, you know, when last year when the Stanley Cup was on the ice before the game, before Game 1, he had googly eyes looking at it. This year, it was just normal. And Pierre, it really, they had a chance to let this get away with from them, considering how it kind of started in the first period and a bit of controversy.
There's no question about it. A year ago, maybe this Oilers team isn't ready to have this kind of moment. I asked Connor McDavid after the game, does that Cup Final experience from a year ago kick in a moment like tonight where, one, the Sam Bennett goal, you could tell that Connor McDavid wasn't thrilled that goal wasn't disallowed. And then, of course, Marchand scores on the ensuing power play. Bang, you're down, and it's deflating, and the building gets quiet. And as Connor McDavid said, even after they went down 3-1, they stuck with their game the rest of the way. They didn't panic. They didn't try to force things. And eventually they get to tie the game. And Connor McDavid said, yeah, you know what? That experience from last year obviously helped tonight. And I think it's absolutely true because you mentioned Media Day. Darnell Nurse saying to me how calm the core of this team was heading into this series. That was not the case a year ago. He can admit it now, but they're just more they're well equipped to handle this big stage now that they've been through it. And I think you saw that tonight, the way they came back.
And Pierre, what did this game tell you about how the rest of this series might go?
Well, I think you saw the quality of this series that was hyped up really show itself here in Game 1. Paul Maurice said that tonight. Despite losing, he said, wow, we're in for a spectacular series. And I think the reason that you can see that after Game 1 is that both of these teams dominated for long stretches in their lead up to the Cup Final, right? Short series, you know, really gaining momentum early in series. And this is not going to be that no matter what happens here. You know, Florida's down 1-0 in this series. They're the kings of the road. They're not going to be too panicked about going down 1-0. But I think what's really telling tonight is Florida owns the second. Edmonton owns the third. Back and forth. Neither team can completely grab the momentum of this game. And I think that's what's going to play out here over 7 games. There's no way a team is going to dominate the other for long stretches, and that's what we had in Game 1.
Oilers were highlighting their depth after this game. Matthias Ekholm, the 20th different player to score. That ties a franchise record in a playoff run. Last time it happened, 1984. Good omen for the Oilers. Wayne Gretzky's first cup. But for me, what stood out was the star guys coming through. You know, Connor McDavid sets up Ekholm for that goal. You know, I've heard of guys being described as having eyes in the back of their head. Ekholm was saying McDavid's got eyes in his neck. So, like, this guy's got eyes everywhere. He just sees the ice. He sets up Ekholm there, and then he sets up Leon Draisaitl in overtime. And Draisaitl, you know, what a moment for him. He gets the party started early in the game, and then he caps it with the overtime winner. And McDavid was asked about Draisaitl afterwards. How do you sum up this guy's playoffs? And he said, when this guy is dug in and on his game, there's maybe no one better. I would think maybe there's one guy better, the guy talking about that, McDavid. But like, that's pretty high praise.
And by the way, Leon Draisaitl is also healthy. A year ago, he was so banged up in this Cup Final and wasn't himself, and that was a pretty big difference in this series. And you can tell what a healthy Leon Draisaitl looks like here in these playoffs.
Pierre, in the fact that the goal was a power play goal in overtime, and the Oilers got a power play goal, pretty significant for the team's head coach, wasn't it?
Yeah, Chris Knobloch postgame, kind of unsolicited, was touching on a few things, and he said, by the way, that was big to get a power play goal right off the bat here in Game 1. He referenced the fact that last year, you know, we got on the Oilers for not scoring on the power play or struggling on the power play early in the series. That was a big part of them being down 3-0 in the series, this dominant Oilers power play. Well, to not only get one in game one, but to finish game one in that moment. Yeah, okay, lucky break, puck over glass on the Panthers, but take advantage of it, and the Oilers did.
Paul Maurice has repeatedly said that the penalty kill was the key to their Stanley Cup win. He has said that time and time again. They're so aggressive on the penalty kill. You got to move the puck quickly. Corey Perry, subtle little play to get the puck to McDavid. You may have noticed McDavid immediately after Draisaitl scored, he looked at Perry. He didn't go to Draisaitl. He was crediting Perry. You got to operate it quickly in those situations. The Oilers did that. A lot to like there.
The Oilers will try to go up 2-0 in the series on Friday night. You were both terrific. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Best of Luck with special guest star Pierre LeBrun.